shot to do what?
On an amazing weekend, Snowmageddon, which we're supposed to get on the East Coast very shortly. This is the HSP podcast on the Gift Shot Network. I am Jeff Martin alongside the trendsetter Brian Burgo. We are the Jersey Wrecking Crew. Follow us on all our social media platforms, and we are live with our Saturday night main event post show. And what a Saturday night's main event it was. Actually, it was pretty enjoyable too. It just flew by, honestly. And I'm still going to say 4 matches is too short. Got to give me 5H. I mean, paying these prices, good Lord, man. But so much going on as we speak. And we thank you guys, the crew, for coming on here live with us. If you can't watch us here, then make sure you follow us on podcast platforms. We're available everywhere. So make sure, if you can't watch us, make sure to listen to us. And we are powered by Bucked Up Energy. Make sure to hit the links, because Bucked Up is partnered up with HSP Podcast. We are the home for Bucked Up Energy, and you can get a lot of offers there. So definitely make sure you check us out and follow us on all our social media platforms at High Spot Podcast. Trendsetter, like I said, a busy weekend. It's going to cap it off with this major snowstorm that's going to hit the East Coast. We were just patiently waiting for this thing. Kind of like Nakamura. I'm ready, dude. I'm like, come on. You know what I mean? Like, I'm ready for Snowmageddon to hit the East Coast. But Trendsetter, how you doing, man? What'd you think of Saturday night's main event tonight?
Listen, from a fan's perspective, I enjoyed the matches. Listen, I could have used the 5th match, but it did flow pretty quickly. They definitely gave matches, which I'm sure we're going to talk about, AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura, plenty of time to get the crowd into it. But to me, that was probably the biggest gripe of my experience with it. It's one thing to be watching it on streaming platforms on Peacock, but the other thing is to see the crowd was like, you saw excitement there. You saw enthusiasm. And then there are moments where you would look at it and say, all right, now this is going to be a moment where the crowd's going to go crazy, or this is what they're setting up for. And you just didn't get the reaction that I thought was going to happen there. So from an entertainment standpoint of watching it, great. You know, Jeff, you and I will never get seats to those events, especially for 4-match cards. So we don't need to worry about that. Let those people spend the money they're willing to spend. Hey, if not, then support us, guys. But yeah, that's never going to happen for us in terms of going to those 4-match cards. But listen, building was alive in terms of enthusiasm there, but it just wasn't kept on a consistent basis. So that's probably the one disappointment I had after the event was over.
Kind of looks like they picked their moments, you know, when obviously the entrance with AJ to me could have been a little bit more with the crowd. I mean, this is a guy that's, you know, either retiring next Sunday or very soon.
Saturday.
And I just kind of think that it just kind of fell flat. Nakamura's one, though, was, listen, he's always had one of the best entrances. When they changed that, I mean, that was just a bad move. And seeing Nakamura go back to that old outfit to looking like Nakamura, you know, the kind of guy that we got a few years back, I think almost now, man, is it like kind of like 10 years kind of that he's been with WWE?
Possibly.
I don't know, maybe 2018. So maybe close to like, it's definitely more over 5 years he's been with the company. So, but you got kind of old school Nakamura, the way he should always have been presented. And
he debuted in 2016. So
yeah, so almost 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years. Where does the time go, dude? But you know what, though? We're going to talk about Saturday night's main event. Obviously, if you caught our preview show, which kind of put it out a little late, but if you guys did happen to see, we also talked about UFC 324. I want to apologize because I think me being the novice, I think they kind of called him Patty Pennington, I think a lot during the show. So my apologies to that. I think you caught me there in the post when you were checking that out too, but. You know, we have that. We got Snowmageddon. But you know what, Trendsetter? We missed the ball completely because there was something else that we got to talk about before we get to this, before we, you know, give our critiques and give our thoughts on Saturday night's main event. Dude, we missed completely this dude climbed this skyscraper, and his name's Alex Honnold, and it took him an hour and 35 minutes to go 101 stories in this building in Taipei, dude. I mean, dude, everyone is tweeting about it, everyone's talking about it. There's no rope, no anything like that. So if he fell, that was it. I can't even climb out of bed in an hour and 35 minutes nowadays, dude. And this guy climbed 101 stories in an hour and 35 minutes. That's impressive. And if you see it was on Netflix too, so much stuff going on. But man, give this guy credit, dude, because that is something that obviously there's no net, there's nothing holding you. It's just basically he's climbing on his own, dude, up 101 stories. That's crazy, dude. That is unbelievable. A little drink, there you go, a little sip of the bubbly to my man there. But that's crazy, dude. I think Seth Rollins was doing commentary on that. So Seth Rollins is everywhere.
Well, he has to be right now. Honestly,
Unreal. He's on Good Morning Football. He's everywhere, dude.
It's also like sometimes he fills in for Rich Eisen too.
And sometimes he fills in for Rich Eisen, but that's crazy, dude. What do you think of that stuff, man? That is crazy to climb 101 stories.
Listen,
nothing, dude. That's crazy. Have you seen the videos or anything like that?
I haven't seen the videos. I heard about it. I saw it on social media though, and it was in Taiwan in that skyscraper, like you said.
Is it Taiwan?
It was in Taiwan. Yeah.
Okay.
101 story climb, ridiculous and crazy with no net, whatever. I initially thought of Batman from The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
No rope. Your fear will find you type of thing. No, but it's impressive though.
Here you go. Pat McAfee goes, the most tense viewing experience I've had, maybe ever. That was unbelievable. Thank you, brother. At Alex Honnold. Hashtag skyscraper live. So yeah, dude, I thought this was going to be postponed because I thought midweek that there were some weather issues that were going to keep that going. I think, well, you obviously can't have wind, right? That's a huge factor. So you have to make sure that it's not a windy day. But he's up there, dude. He went up to like the needle point too. So that's crazy, man. Props to that dude. That guy takes a special person to do that, really does. Takes a very special person with I don't give a shit mentality to do so. But I'm surprised that I'm surprised to hear more about this guy sooner, but that's crazy. So props to him. And now, Trendsetter, we talk about Saturday night's main event. Obviously, you're also monitoring any late breaking news. But listen, like I said, I'm not going to be those kind of people that are going to pay for a 4-match card. I just don't. It's not in me to go. 5 to me would be okay. Would be satisfactory, but I'm not going to go there for 4 matches, dude. With the way it's spaced out, the commercials, and then the video segments and all that stuff, it's just not worth my while. They had over 13,000 at the Bell Center in Montreal today. It's still impressive, dude. I mean, the thing that seats like 16,000, so only 3,000 away from capacity. That's crazy, dude. We talked about the card. We'll talk about why there should be at least one more match in these things, because I just think there should be. You're getting for the money that you're paying for these things. I just don't think 4 is enough. And they're going to do the same thing for the Royal Rumble, Trendsetter. It's AJ taking on Gunther. Of course, if AJ loses, Gunther will retire AJ. So that's going to be another person. He's going to have Goldberg, John Cena, and AJ Styles if that happens next Saturday. And then we've got the Undisputed Championship, which we'll talk about because Sami Zayn knocks off Damian Priest, Randy Orton, and Trick Williams, and he's going to the Royal Rumble in Saudi. Makes sense. And then you have the men's and women's Royal Rumble matches. That's it. Obviously it's the Saudis, whatever, they can pay whatever they want for 4 matches. That's fine. But when it happens here in North America, you're like, come on, man, dude, we need 5 or 6 on a PLE, and then 5 on a regular TV show. I mean, we're not going to get it. We know why they're going to do it, but I mean, we'll discuss this again towards the end of the show of why I think there needs to be at least 5 on these things. And it's probably the only that in NXT is the only thing that's left on Peacock. Like again, too, Trendsetter, it's hard to like keep track of where is where, right? You were talking about, it's not on NBC, right? Because Peacock doesn't have the library anymore. And so now you're like, well, okay, so they don't have it. And then for a few seconds there, you're kind of in doubt. Where am I going? Where am I going to see this too? Right? I think we're also like up to here with streaming platforms. At least I am, right? But let's start it off, Trendsetter, with the opening match of Jacob Fatu and Cody Rhodes. This is just 10 minutes of brawling, pure, just like, it just proved to me that Jacob Fatu belongs here. And it's kind of leading to where I think it's going to lead, Trendsetter, especially as the night closed. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. But the match itself, hey, listen, Jacob Fatu belongs, man. I'm glad he's finally healthy. We talked about it on the preview show that he can obviously now cut promos, which I don't think was that much of an issue, but he can hang with Cody Rhodes. He showed that. And it was I had Cody winning because I didn't think that Triple H was gonna do that to Cody, and you had Jacob pulling it off. But then Drew comes in and then chokeslams him through the tables. Stephanie McMahon, kudos to Stephanie McMahon, Trendsetter, because Joe Tessitore was stuck in Detroit. This Snowmageddon is not just here on the East Coast, but it's everywhere. It's this huge vortex, Trendsetter. It's like the day after tomorrow coming up soon.
I love that movie.
And it played too. So congratulations to all the networks that played it this week, because obviously you guys know what's going on here. But yeah, so like I think Jacob was impressive. I think it was spot on. I want to see them go at it again. I think that's what I think they wanted to make us want to see. And to me, do I wish it was a winner and loser? Of course, but this is hard hitting, and I think Jacob proved that he belonged. I think this was a show that Jacob Fatu belongs in the main event scene.
Listen, I've said it since the beginning. Jacob Fatu debut. There's just something about him that, like, even when he wasn't speaking, he was just saying the words "I love you" solo. That just reeked as a star. And I said to you, man, something's going to happen with this guy, and it happened sooner than later. Unfortunately, Solo was the end result where it was more leaning towards him to do that role, but Jacob came in and took advantage of it, had a tidal wave of momentum behind him, and you could tell the audience loved this genuineness you get with not just this character, but Jacob as well. We've spoken to Jacob before in the past. He's a amazing human being, one of the nicest guys you could ever meet. Very intimidating, but still, you just wouldn't think so by the way you talk to him. In terms of the scenario, that I'm not really upset. I really wasn't looking forward to it. I thought we were going to get a regular match. I would like to tell you, Jeff, I was pleasantly surprised that we had a fight here, because not only does it showcase the fact, like, to your point, that Jacob Fatu belongs. I think a lot of people felt he already belonged there until he had to deal with going away for a little bit and then coming back, and then the fear that would he lose any momentum for doing it. And let's be honest, too, his match with Solo at SummerSlam was left for a lot to be desired. It really wasn't a good storyline or match in general going into that for the United States Championship. But I actually enjoyed this more for Cody as well, because so many times we've seen Cody in the light where it's been singles matches, and he has been this white meat babyface, as you and I've discussed off air, where it's like we understand the role he's playing, and those are the kind of parameters and the boundaries he has to deal with in terms of being a white meat babyface. But I want a little bit more attitude. I want a little bit more, just be more realistic. You could be, the good-hearted guy you want to be, but sometimes if something annoys you or pisses you off, say that it does. If somebody's walking all over you and preaching insults, say them right back. And I love the fact that it was a fight. And basically Cody doing his second pose and Jacob going in and is going right into a fight. I loved it. We were completely wrong on the end result. We thought we both picked winners, and we were both wrong on that one. Pleasantly surprised on that end, because this is showcasing the fact that with Cody, you want a tougher, a more aggressive Cody Rhodes. And for Jacob, you want to showcase the fact that he is at this level, which you and I have talked about before. We felt he was already there when he debuted in WWE, just from the mere presence and aura about him. So great way. And of course, Drew interfering, which is a way of saving both guys from being losing. And we know this is going to, happen again, which is what we're looking forward to. So in essence of a match, or a non-match, I think it was successful, because we saw a fight, we saw a brawl, which you don't normally see, and it got the fans, I feel at least, excited that we're going to possibly see Cody and Jacob again. And how Drew McIntyre fits in all this, we'll find out after the Royal Rumble. But man, I'm looking forward to these two going at it because even in that brawl, it felt different, and I like that feeling.
To me, I think that though Jacob obviously belongs. We're very high on Jacob Fatu. You talked about all the experiences with Jacob. We did get a chance to see him early on in the as far as he was getting his feet wet with MLW. So we were part of seeing him there. And all you can do is just come off impressed with the guy. And now he's getting the opportunity. Now, hopefully, the injuries and all that stuff is behind him now, and now he can get to that main event scene, which he was kind of. We were wondering when it was going to happen, and now hopefully we can talk about him. And when you take a look at Drew's involvement with this whole thing, because Drew keeps saying that he did not do that. He did not attack Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu went to look for Drew, and then obviously Cody gets involved, and then he loses the championship due to Jacob Fatu interfering, and which allowed Drew to walk out of the cage. And now, to me, unless there's something else changes here, I think Jacob Fatu is going to get a main event opportunity at WrestleMania this year.
It's a possibility. I mean, I'm not too quick to jump the gun on that because a lot can happen. Because obviously, depending on the Royal Rumble, what ends up happening, which we'll dissect when we break down that card, when we actually get to it, a lot can happen. Do I see him getting into a main event spot really soon? Yes. I don't know if it'd be that soon, in my opinion. So I'm waiting and seeing that one. But listen, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they're pitting because they're definitely pushing him in that way. But I want to ask you, were you expecting a match? Were you disappointed you didn't get a match? Or did this brawler fight that happened satisfy you enough to say, hey, I want to see this again with these two?
It was hard hitting. I mean, they're dedicated. I mean, they were into this. That's all you could ask for. But did I want an outcome? I don't have to have an outcome as long as I'm entertained with this, and I was. Sets up the angle, and like I said, I think the stars are aligning for Jacob Fatu to be involved in the main event at WrestleMania because of this. I think that's where they're headed to. Because, and again, we have a week or a few days to dissect Sami Zayn's chances of beating Drew at the Royal Rumble, and so it'll give me time to think. But right now, the stars are aligning for Jacob. And I think that with Drew winning that championship, what it did, it opened the door for we're not going to get Roman and Cody, but we have opened the door now for somebody else for a fresh matchup. I don't know how fresh when you add Drew into the mix because we get Drew and Cody again interacting, but to add another face to elevate in Jacob Fatu, because I think it's going to be a triple threat match. I think that's where it's leading to. I'm not a big fan of triple threat matches, especially at WrestleMania for the championship, but it's going to be interesting to see because I think that's where it's going. You obviously are waiting for a little bit for the murkiness to kind of settle and to see what happens, but I think that
because we have to wait and see who is, if Drew is stating he didn't attack Jacob, then there's something there. Could Cody be involved in the scenario where we've been talking about? Is he turning into the other side here because fans are booing him? They're not all booing him right now, but they kind of want a different version. They're kind of fed up with this version of Cody. I feel at least they're getting bored with it.
Are you getting bored with it? That's because we know how you feel about Cody. Are you getting bored with this Cody Rhodes before him having while he was champion on the second one? Were you kind of getting a little tired?
I wasn't bored. I was frustrated. That's a better word for use. I was frustrated because I wanted so much out of these runs. The first one, he had a couple good matches in there, and then I feel like kind of stalled. Then when he got it back at SummerSlam, the reaction really wasn't there, and kind of worked against him too, defeating John Cena, taking the title away from him during his retirement tour. People being so emotionally invested in John Cena as the countdown happened, and we got closer and closer to his final match. I think it worked against Cody, but they tried to do what was best for it. And like I said, me being a huge Cody fan, and not so much where I'm blinded by the reality of the situation, felt that Drew winning the title was the best thing for Cody, at least, or the best thing in general that could happen. Because as much as you and I have dealt with scenarios where we've seen the John Cenas and we've seen these long tenured champions, you're like, man, they're just forcing, especially Roman early on, not the tribal stage, not the tribal chief stage of his career, But in the beginning, we're like, come on, man, stop force feeding this guy. It kind of felt that way, and it didn't really feel it didn't feel genuine to me that Cody was just allowing these things to happen to him and just wasn't fighting back like you think he would, because he had to be the nice guy and I'm gonna try really really hard, or I'm not gonna cross that line, or second guessing himself because he doesn't want to hit somebody with a chair or whatever the case might be. I hate that. I despise that type of thing. I understand why they do it for the audience that they're adhering to. I'm not that demographic anymore. But yeah, I thought I was going stale. So I wouldn't say I'm tired of him, but maybe another version of him. And listen, when we've seen him when he left WWE for the first time, and he was doing things in Ring of Honor and New Japan, he was a really good heel. And I think for him to have a run like that, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if it does, I think, because I think he just means so much more to the company as a babyface. But if that were to happen, man, and even Taker said it on Chris Van Vliet's show. He's like, I think he's got a bigger run as a heel, and I'm kind of interested in seeing that now. I like him as a babyface, but maybe I kind of want to see Cody turn to the dark side a little bit. Would you want to see him turn heel, or do you think this version of him, it's going to be with him like in terms of a John Cena, like they really don't want to turn him heel?
I mean, I mean, like they should really consider it, and I just think they're afraid. I think they're afraid to do that. I think they're afraid for some reason. For some reason, they're afraid with John Cena, and look what happened. And I think they're afraid with Cody, and I'm afraid to see how they would handle this. I don't have confidence. Now you can tell me that Unreal is scripted and it's a work, and they're working us, and they know what they're doing.
That's
But
a
I have
good
I
show.
have my confidence in these people right now to properly book Cody as a heel. I mean, listen, I know we had the whole John Cena run last year, and that's what kind of prevented Cody from going up against Randy Orton. But when the hell are we getting Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes? When are we doing it? When is this going to happen? Uh, are we going to get it now next WrestleMania? I'm not impatient. I can wait, but this is taking so long, and it's ridiculous. And while I'm glad that Drew ended up becoming the champion, right? Like him and Drew are just fighting like crazy. I think WWE has this thing where like they prolong stuff, and I like stories that have that it's just not one encounter and stuff, and then you go on to the next. I like that because if there's story to it. But look what they did with Damian Priest and Aleister Black. That thing ran its course for like 6 freaking months, and I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. Let's go and see where they go. And the ambulance match was good, but I mean, like, did it make anyone really truly better? And then I just, again, with the incompetence that I think right now is I mean, besides a few people, I think, but there's certain people there that that I have a terrible feeling about that would totally mishandle this whole Cody Rhodes heel turn. So while I would be open to it and while I think it would be good for him, I don't think they would even want to pull the trigger on that. And if they did, I think they would make a huge mistake. So that's where I'd be on Cody Rhodes. I mean,
Well,
dude,
guys, we definitely know one of those people is not Bruce Pritchard.
oh no.
This chef has 100% confidence in Bruce Pritchard in his creative direction
Well,
of what he's doing with heels.
well, but the thing is, though, of the podcast, though, but you finished.
Wait, real quick. It's so much better with him on it now with
Oh
Conrad.
my god!
Right?
Well,
So much
JBI, I love you, dude, but like a year, really, Bruce? It took a year to come back. But you saw Unreal. Are you confident that they would know what to do with Cody?
Again, it goes back. To answer your question, no. But it goes back to what we're talking about. We'll be more in depth as we break down episodes, because that'll be part of what we're going to do as we post for ourselves episodes about talking about Unreal. But we're looking at things from the eyes of what other people are showing us and what they choose to show us. So, I remember one episode was about what's a work, how poor is a work. In my honest opinion, I think a majority of what we see on Unreal is a work. They're showing us a little bit, but they're not showing us the whole story. And then they're showing us in the narrative that they want us to see. That's with anything in terms of reality shows. It's not the narrative that we're perceiving it. It's the narrative that they're making us perceive something in. So in terms of that, with Road Dogg and Bruce Pritchard, and basically how we talked about this whole Cena run, which again, that's another episode we have to do. Listen, I think that'd be a nice fresh coat of paint for Cody. I think that'd be a way of skyrocketing him in another direction. But here's the thing, and here's the dilemma in terms of not just business. I just feel when you look at the rosters of Raw and SmackDown, Jeff, you don't have enough baby faces here. So I think that
Well,
forces the hand where Cody has to stay face because right now you can't have everyone as a heel right now.
well, if you're going to do Cody and Roman Reigns, it would have to be with Roman's being the face and Cody being the heel, because Cody would definitely be the number one heel in the company, and then you have to find that baby face, and they're few and far between. So who would have to be? But the thing is, too, though, Roman is part time. He's like less. He like less than part time. You know, I mean, so like,
I don't
how
want
would
the schedule so bad.
how would that work out? And here's the thing too, like I don't mind Roman. He's earned his schedule and his contract. Good for him, you know. But like even booking him to like, oh, okay, he fights this guy, and now and all, dude, he hasn't done anything since WrestleMania 40. And I'm talking about like he's put over these people, these guys, and maybe for the better, I don't know, but he's put over mid carders this whole the since WrestleMania 40, after WrestleMania 40, and now he's stopping start. So he comes back, he gets injured by one of the guys, then he comes back, gets injured, the back gets injured, and it's just like, okay, all right. So like how is that him? How is it stopping and starting a Roman going to lead to a good storyline between him and Cody Rhodes? We'd have to see Roman more than once every 90 days, right? So I mean
Tell
that
me
would
how you really feel, Jeff. Tell me how you really feel. No, but here's the thing. Here's the other dilemma that you're just bringing up right now, just by talking about your
I
frustration
love
of
Roman. I'm sporting the OTC one sweatshirt, hoodie sweatshirt, which feels like a glove here as I
myself.
prepare for
Merry Christmas.
Snowmageddon. Thank you to the trendsetter. Great Christmas gift. I can finally wear it because I'm like finally like 100%. But I'm preparing for Snowmageddon here, so nice and comfortable with my OTC one. I love Roman Reigns.
Yeah. But again, you're describing the dilemma in terms of not just the whole Cody situation, but like you spoke about it before, like yeah, you're just these long storylines going so long and not really living up to what it, what you expect it to be or how you perceived it to be. But then what's the scenario? You get lost stops and starts, and especially Roman is the example. What you say, he's earned his schedule, he's earned the scenario that he has or his position in the company, but a lot of starts and stops here, and that's what you have to deal with a part timer. So it's an uneven balance, Jeff. It's never a perfect formula, as we know, because 10 years ago, under another regime, we were sick and tired of like, hey, can we go 2 weeks longer in a story instead of having to flip flop back and forth and moving on to something else? So I don't know, man. I think it's just a dilemma we're always going to deal with in terms of creative. And then you have the people say, hey, get rid of Triple H. He's horrible. Okay, put somebody else in. Let's say, for example, your favorite, Bruce Pritchard, in there, and he's running things. And then it'll be the same thing. I don't like the way he does this. So it's going to be the same problem no matter what we do, Jeff, no matter how we dissect it. But the only thing that I will say that I enjoy is the mere fact that, yes, this long-term storytelling can be obnoxious, can be nauseating at times, but at least they're committed to that. And it does bode for, again, going all the way back to WrestleMania 40, a scenario, and I get it was under Vince's regime as well, but a scenario where you do get a payoff every once in a while there. But again, recently, they haven't been home runs, so I get it.
The translator, I thought we were gonna be on here for like 20 minutes because I thought we were just gonna breeze through boom, 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 bing, these
That's never
matches.
been us. That's never been us.
And look at this, man. One match already, and we've had so much to discuss here. Let's go to Rio. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, the reigning defending women's tag team champions. They took on Team Liv Rocks, Liv Morgan, and Roxanne Perez of the Judgment Day. This is a very good match, and we finally saw the return of a healthy Stephanie Vaquer. Raquel Rodriguez interfered on behalf of the Judgment Day and actually was interfered in the match, and Rhea. They had the win there, pulls Rhea on top of Io, and then they caused the break in the count. And then Stephanie Figueroa comes out, and glad to see that she's healthy. And obviously, I think they're going to set up now the feud with Raquel Rodriguez. But the match is really good. We almost had another a little controversy with the pin because Rhea was late on that, and we almost had another controversy where the titles almost switched hands just because Rhea was late on it. Io Sky kind of did a little kick out there, and the referee did not count to three, or else I'm sure a lot of people that want to shit on these shows would have like, oh, would have loved to, but no harm, no foul, and they come out victorious for Ripley and Io Sky, and I knew that they're not going to lose their first title defense, but I'm very interested to see the championships on Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez. They just, they just seem like it would be fun, I think, with them as a tag team champions, because I know that Rhea and Io aren't there for the long run. I just want to see what happens with Liv Morgan. Although they say that she's rumored for a huge, a planned feud for WrestleMania, so they might have plans for her on the single side. But I would have loved to see Team Liv Rocks come out on top, but they didn't. But again, no surprise though with the outcome.
I just want to spend time just talking about Liv Morgan and how amazing she looked, dude. That was oof.
Listen, I know Roxanne's not your cup of tea, but give Roxanne, who's working with some small nagging injuries too. She's getting kudos for gutting it out, but she too looks not bad, as we say.
I know you're trying to convince Jeff. You're trying to convince me. You're trying to convince the audience here. Liv Morgan, Roxanne Perez. No offense to Roxanne Perez, but it is not even close. But again, I do commend her for some nagging injuries there. Listen, the outcome ended up the way we thought. Listen, as much as you say that you would love to see Liv Morgan and Roxanne as tag team champions, and I'll have to give credit where credit's due. The WWE, more than the men's roster, is showing more interest in wanting to make this women's tag team division work. I think for the short term, though, I think right now with the crowd and the way they like and the way they enjoy it, although they did have their moments with Charlotte and Alexa Bliss, I think this pairing between Rhea Ripley and Io Sky is just working. So I think right now they're going to try to ride it as long as they can. I think eventually we will see that, but if rumors are true, which I do believe they are, where I think there's this huge plan for Liv as a single star, I think that might be a scenario where you might have like a Raquel Rodriguez with Roxanne going for the titles rather than Liv in that situation, though. So right now, I think the temporary solution, which will I think last for a little bit, is Rhea and Io Sky. And I know a lot of people are disappointed to hear that because they so badly want Io and Rhea in the title picture for the women's world or WWE championship. But right now, it's working too well that you'd be a fool, in my opinion, to break them up.
We'll see what happens. I like the team more.
You'd be a fool, Jeff.
Really, I don't know. I just think that a single run is coming for Rhea, and I think Io Sky is better off as a singles star. But obviously, they're feeding off their chemistry and the fans and stuff like that. So, but again, even though it was their first title defense, they were going to lose their first title defense. And now we'll talk.
They almost did though.
And now we'll talk about probably the best match, and everyone's talking about it on social media right now because we were talking about it too on the preview show that the match was WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans. That was the one that that everyone was counting on to look just like Wrestle Kingdom with AJ Styles and Nakamura, and it did not deliver. Underwhelmed for some reason, whether they just did not, I don't know, just something fell flat in that, and you couldn't put your finger on it, and they just maybe held back a little bit there. But we were all expecting New Japan, Wrestle Kingdom, strong style, right? We didn't get it, and for the longest time, we were always wondering, what if? Well, I'm not saying that it was anything close to New Japan, Wrestle Kingdom, but I think that this match by far hit a home run over their WrestleMania match in New Orleans. So it was very entertaining. I was happy. I'm glad that Nakamura looked like Nakamura. I think they tried to change too many things that they should have done. If the wheel wasn't broke, don't try to fix it with Nakamura. Just present him in a better aspect. I really believe that I don't want to say they dropped the ball on a lot of things, but they really dropped the ball with Nakamura. And as far as AJ, we also talked about the disrespect about AJ's retirement tour and what is exactly the plan. What is the plan for his tour? Does it end next week? Does it keep going on to WrestleMania? But I think today, even though they didn't promote it or build, I think the match was great. And I think they got their flowers. I think they got their stuff in. And you could tell AJ Styles, you showed it to me that he was getting emotional as he saw Nakamura on the other side of the ring. And it was really starting to set in. I think out of all the times that we've seen AJ, he's kind of kept his composure. But I think even with the whole Cena thing, because it was about Cena, but I think tonight was probably the first time that you saw AJ kind of realize that the end is near. Whether he's playing his role because he knows that we got to think about the Rumble, or maybe it was really just emotion that got the best of him. But tonight we felt that emotion at AJ Styles, that whether it's hitting him, that the run is almost over, whether it's just he's in the ring saying, "Man, where does time go? How am I here now?" Right? But this match to me, you can't really gripe about this one. This was everything it had to be. It looks like they were given their time too. They got it in. And again, just leave Nakamura alone. However long he stays in the company, just let him be. Let him do his thing. He still has a run in him too. I think he's still got it too. But all in all, this match delivered, and it was probably the match of the night.
Well, a lot to say there, but I will not drag as I usually do when I do talk about this, because this is true, man. When we spoke about it during the preview show about how I felt that this run with AJ Styles was just, we can use the word disrespectful. For me, I look at it as more of just mediocre. And mediocrity is horrible when you're comparing that to the phenomenal one AJ Styles, because in terms of what he's done, not necessarily in WWE. I'm not talking about what he's done in TNA, just what he's done in wrestling in general. Listen, there's a lot of gripes that people have at AJ Styles at times in terms of, his accent, the way he talks. He doesn't deliver great promos on a consistent basis and things of that nature. But the one thing that nobody watching this stream or watches us on social media as we talk can never deny about AJ Styles is his authenticity of who he is. Every single time he is in a match, wherever it is, no matter who's in the audience or how many people are watching, he gives it 120% every single time. So I thought it was a disservice the fact that, yes, the match we wanted to see at WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans was not the Wrestle Kingdom match we saw that we so badly wanted to anticipate and had expectations for, because we were so deeply disappointed with those expectations. This was a match in terms of just not even retribution, but kind of just ending a chapter in an era of wrestling that you and I loved watching, Jeff. And it's a shame that we only saw New Japan Pro Wrestling at the tail end when it was kind of withering down, because it's nowhere near close to what it once was and the excitement that it brought when you saw individuals like this. I got emotional because I don't know if AJ was working us in terms of kind of showing emotion in his face, or what the case might be, maybe just showcasing the story of maybe him having, second thoughts or second guessing a decision to put his career on the line against Gunther. But this match was given ample time. The crowd was finally waking up and chanting, "This is awesome." And every single move, in my opinion, meant something. They went to a submission move and went extremely long in that submission move to make it mean something. It's the kind of wrestling, Jeff, that I've always enjoyed, I've always appreciated, and I've always valued. And we see a guy like AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura in the middle of the ring giving themselves the fist pump, comparable to, and we posted those on social media. 100% credit goes there to Jeff on our Instagram page, of what they did, the same thing, fist pump at Wrestle Kingdom. It reminded me in terms of why I love this industry so much, because of moments like that. Moments like that, Jeff, where you don't make those, and we've had discussions about this before, where like sometimes it feels like WWE is trying to create moments. Moments sometimes just happen organically. It happened in Wrestle Kingdom, and then that one, whether it was scripted to be happening or not, worked because of the effort and the quality that you saw in the ring. That's what we should have seen at WrestleMania 34 to some extent. I think we got a little bit of that now. It's not comparable to Wrestle Kingdom. I'm not trying to do it, but if we wanted to see what an AJ Styles Shinsuke Nakamura match should have been in WWE, we got that Saturday Night's main event. So super happy with the two of them, and also bittersweet because it's the end of an era. It's the end of the chapter. Regardless whether AJ retires or not at the Royal Rumble, it's probably the last time we're ever going to see Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles in a ring again.
And at the end, you can gripe about the promoting of it, but you're glad that they were able to get in there one last time. I didn't even think about it. That's how far gone and far removed to me Shinsuke has been from my mind, because I didn't even think about the bringing out the nostalgic matches with AJ. So I didn't even think about that when it came, and when they did it, I was like, okay, that's a great idea. But again, I just wish they would have put more promotion into it. But then today, I kind of shut up, because the match itself, to me, once the match happened, I could give two flying, trying to be PG here, I could give two flying Fs about the promotion or anything like that. Once they got into the match, I was involved into the match, and I didn't mind that too. And kudos also for them bringing up New Japan and their history, because how could you not bring up that history? And then for them, when they go back and they do some of the stuff that you saw from their matchup at Wrestle Kingdom, and they actually acknowledge it, refreshing to see that they did that. And that was awesome too, because there's a story. There's a story. This is why there's so much history between them, because of what happened in the past in New Japan. And for them to bring it up just made it even more, because they acknowledged their history that they had. So, kudos to everybody. AJ and Nakamura delivered a very memorable matchup, and so happy for both. And again, it was the match of the night. And
100%.
and obviously you couldn't end it as the final match because of what was at stake in the next match. But if that would close it out, whew, man. And then AJ got the applause and the standing ovation that he deserved. And then, of course, Nakamura with the pump at the end, the fist pump, and then even him too acknowledging Shinsuke, because you don't know how long he's going to be around in WWE anymore too. So there's a chance to just go back and, man, this is the ultimate what if. What if they would have done right by Shinsuke? What if they would have not been afraid to pull the trigger a long time ago? Because kudos for Shinsuke being loyal and staying. Obviously, he obviously must feel comfortable here and must enjoy the life here, because obviously he maybe have had the choice to go back to Japan and just enjoys it here. But he's a good soldier, dude. And for him to just come out in the red, no BS with the music. And I love I love Lee England, but no violin, no guitar, just basic. When me and you were in the Curtis Caldwell Center in Dallas for NXT Takeover, and just having that feel of Nakamura vibe, I went back 10 years, dude, right? I went back in time. And that was great to see, and a very enjoyable matchup. And it just put a smile on my face, too. Got teary-eyed, too, but obviously so enjoyable. So that matchup really delivered, and glad that we got to see it. Now transfer to the Fatal 4-Way to see who would become the number one contender for Drew McIntyre's Undisputed Championship. Drew, obviously, kudos to him. We gave him his flowers on the preview show, but now is up to who's going to take it. My heart and sentiment wanted to be Randy Orton, but it was not. Trick Williams, again, to me, had another great showing. Damian Priest, he didn't lose anything in my eyes, even though he got pinned. But it was Sami Zayn, because he was in his hometown in Montreal. The fans were behind him, and he gets his opportunity at the Royal Rumble Trend Center to get his first championship, take his first world championship against Drew McIntyre in Saudi Arabia. Your thoughts on the match?
Listen, in terms of the match, extremely impressed with that trick. Impressed with him 100%. Been humming that all day for some reason, because Jeff likes to do this stuff on social media. He plays these tunes that sound so similar to songs I've heard before in the past, or songs that are catchy like that. But listen, man, to me, that was an important thing that I was looking in this match. How would he fare against some pretty established stars? Even Damian Priest, like you said, didn't really lose much. But at the same time, unfortunately, Damian didn't gain much either, because it seems like Damian right now, with that whole story he had with Aleister Black, thinking he's moving forward, and it kind of feels like he's stuck in a way, that character. Like, where are we going with it in terms of, direction, in terms of either a singles title, or being in the World Championship title, or the WWE Undisputed Championship title? I don't know. But I've had that feeling that Samuels and Randy Orton is Randy Orton, guys. He is. I think
You're wrong. You're wrong right now. So
I think only now we're realizing his greatness, in a sense. Before, I thought he was kind of lazy. I admit to, in the past, I thought it was kind of lazy.
I
What he did sometimes in the ring,
but he nailed it in sometimes.
But this version of him right now, and seeing the veteran leadership stuff that we also saw in Unreal, that you would never think Randy Orton would be somebody who, like, I'm going to take the challenge of working with Jelly Roll, and have that match at SummerSlam with him, Drew McIntyre, and Logan Paul, and kind of being a veteran that you would never think you'd see from a guy like Randy Orton. But again, he can't do no wrong. I think, he's amazing. And I wouldn't say he's a gatekeeper, but I think he's in a position right now where he's positioning these people and kind of building up towards the future. It's not really worrying about a world title. But for Sami Zayn, that's what I thought it was going to happen. He was going to win this match. The biggest disappointment was the fact that when he faced Roman, and that story, talk about long-term storytelling, that bloodline storyline was one of the best storylines I'd ever seen with Sami and Roman. And that crowd so badly wanted Sami to beat Roman Reigns, where you thought maybe it's happening.
This is a perfect example. I'm glad you mentioned this, because that company at that time, if this was TKO now, I guarantee you 100% Sami Zayn would have won the championship against Roman Reigns. I guarantee you. But back then, they were disciplined. Back then, they were like, we have the story, right? Because they were thinking ahead. Because this is going to get to Cody Rhodes, right? And it would have impeded had Sami Zayn because they had a plan. WWE in 2024, I believe that's when that match happened, right? Or 2023, right? They were about story. They had the whole bloodline thing, and they didn't derive from it because they had the tunnel vision. Roman, Cody. Now this TKO, and I'm telling you what, if you would have put the title on Sammy, you would have gotten the moment. But then what do you do? But now WWE, if you had this TKO era, I can guarantee you 100% that Sami Zayn would have walked out of Montreal with the championship, and then it would have been for the moment, and then it would have been like, what now? That's how I feel with the company is right now. You know what I mean? I think they go in there instead of being logical sometimes, like they kind of stop themselves and they're like, wait a minute, but that's too predictable. Or no, we have to like swerve the people, because that to me is sometimes it's just a wrong way of thinking. So I totally think that this TKO era would have put the belt on Sami Zayn, as you were talking about how the whole elimination chamber happened, where it could have been his moment, and everyone was talking about it. People were like, "No, Sami Zayn's got to win," and people were disappointed. Even the people were chasing the moment back then, and now when WWE's trying to change the moment, now the fans are like, "No, it shouldn't be about just chasing the moment." It's amazing how things changed. It's amazing how things changed. Right there. I don't know if you caught that. Would you agree though, if the TKO era was now, that Sami Zayn would have been the champion at Elimination Chamber back there in Montreal?
Yeah, well, it was in 2023, and
2023.
yes, it would have happened. In my opinion, it would have happened because of the way the creative system or the machine of WWE is structured now. It would have, which bodes the question now. Now that Sami is the number one contender and he's going to go to Saudi Arabia, where he has links and ties there as well. Now you're like, oh, is it the scenario where Drew McIntyre is this gigantic, disrespectful guy who doesn't take Sami Zayn seriously, similar to Gunther too for the Intercontinental title, that doesn't look at him as a threat. And then the scenario too, where Drew's made it personal, talking about his family, and also what they said. I don't know if you caught this as well, and I'm sure they'll build this up on SmackDown when they are in Saudi Arabia. Is that they said at the end of Saturday Night's main event, as they're promoting the fact that this is going to happen at the Royal Rumble, that Sami Zayn has never in his career ever beaten Drew McIntyre. You don't put out those Easter eggs unless you want people to think that that's a possibility. In my personal opinion, I'll say short and then I'll go into further detail as we talk about the Royal Rumble card. But I don't think you did all this work to put the title on Drew, that would necessarily be a great move to do. In terms of storyline standpoint, it's not going to be drawn up better than this right now for Sami Zayn, whether it was for the Intercontinental title or in the scenario for a world title, as supposed back in 2023 for the Elimination Chamber, in terms of how much the crowd wanted him to win it. The fact that he wins the number one contendership in Montreal and now go to Saudi Arabia and could possibly win the WWE Undisputed Championship, you couldn't write it better then. And if it doesn't happen then when? We'll dissect it when we talk about the Royal Rumble, but I don't know if that would be the best move right now in terms of what their plan is or what we anticipate their plan is going to be for WrestleMania.
So we got Sami Zayn going to the Royal Rumble and taking on Drew McIntyre. We've got a very memorable match between Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles. Man, I just wish they could wrestle forever. That's how sweet this one was. This is how it actually took me back in time. That's how great that match was. We got Rhea and Io Sky successfully defending their tag team championships, and we had a brawl.
Tag name right there, Rio.
That's Rio. That's what they do. Rio, yeah, Rhea and Io Sky. That's what they call them, Team Rio. Although I haven't called Live Rocks. But I think that's what they should have called them if they continue as a tag team. And then obviously you had the brawl between Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu, which had Drew McIntyre put them through the tables. And so that kind of makes you you talk about Easter eggs, that kind of leads to what the road might be to WrestleMania for all three of them. And, we had this guy climb 101 story building in Taipei, on
Taiwan.
Netflix. In Taiwan, yeah, it was Topei 101 was the name of the building. So,
So
in an hour and 31 minutes, that is crazy. So we had all that. UFC 324 in the Paramount Plus era. That happened. So a lot of stuff going on. The football is towards the end now, and we've got Snowmageddon, which I call it, and waiting for it to hit the East Coast. So what I'm going to say to you guys before we close the show, thank you for joining the live stream. Thank you for being part of the crew. And again, if you've missed us, we thank you. We're back to 100% healthy and look forward to being on the road to WrestleMania. It starts next week with a WrestleMania preview show and all the lives after that. We will be live on here, Give Shot Network, for the Royal Rumble post show. But we will have a Royal Rumble preview for you guys next week. And we thank you for being part of the crew. Follow us on all our social media at High Spot Podcast. Thank you for joining the live stream. And remember, we are powered up by Bucked Up Energy, HSP, and Bucked Up. What a tag team we are, man. What an amazing tag team. Definitely going for the tag team titles eventually down the road. So watch out I'm drawing a blank. Who are the tag team champions right now? Oh, Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso. Obviously, a Hall of Fame tag team takes on a Hall of Fame tag team, HSP and Bucked Up Energy. Trendsetter, final thoughts, comments, suggestions, predictions. Listen, man, stay warm.
Right
stay
there. That was the jab in the heart for the tag team division for me when you said that.
Stay warm. Stay
Oh
safe.
man.
Happy New
Why
Year.
can't we do this for the men's division, guys? Why can't we do this for the men's division?
Happy New Year and all that stuff, man. No, but seriously though, Trendsetter, good to see you 100%. And then again, guys, please don't get on the roads. This is a vortex, dude. It's hitting Texas, it's hitting everywhere in the Midwest, up here in the East Coast. So, guys, be safe.
If you don't have to go out, don't go out.
Stay home, and we will see you on the other side of this next week as we will be officially on the road to WrestleMania. Trendsetter, thanks for joining us live, and close it like you do best.
Guys, thanks so much for this live stream here of Saturday night's main event recap and reaction show. And remember, guys, for my tag team partner, Jeff Martin, I'm the Trendsetter, Brian Berg. We are the Jersey Wrecking Crew, and we do this live stream, and we do the High Spot podcast, and we're here with Bucked Up Energy and Give Us a Shot Network. We do it for one reason and one reason only. We do it for you, the
crew. Come on.